This morning, we brought in the investigative team to uncover what's really going on during your morning commute.
Yes, about 40 minutes ago, if you were with us, investigative reporter Cam Drew was here with us in studio, sharing with us all the data that she's been crunching on the most dangerous crash zones along I-94. And she mentioned the second highest zone along I-94 is in the city of Detroit. Mile markers 217 to 220, which is between Mount Elliott Street and French Road in Wayne County, as you see on the map there. And
now she's back with the most dangerous spot on I-94 where we see the most crashes. Karen, talk to her.
Hey guys, we are in that zone where we do see the most crashes. This is I-94 between exit 213 and 216. It's not that far away from that second highest zone. We spent a lot of time digging through this data, 5 years, and really compiled it all together. So take a look exactly in terms of what you need to know when you plan your morning commute or your evening commute on why you want to try to either avoid this area or drive obviously extra special careful.
The numbers, the direction of travel, the time of day. You're looking at crash data for 5 years on I-94. It can be a bit overwhelming. So let's make it easy for you. This is what we uncovered. I-94 between mile markers 213 and 216. That's the area between Warren Avenue and I-75 in Wayne County. 2,381 crashes in the past 5 years.
I believe a majority of these crashes have been things like side swipes, rear end crashes, because again, people are too fast, they're too close, they're not paying attention, they're not planning ahead.
That's why we did this.
Is someone else driving or is it?
I'm driving.
Oh.
Took one of our unmarked news cars and installed cameras inside and out to document our drive on this stretch of I-94 on a typical weekday.
And this is exactly the issue.
So why is this stretch so challenging?
Yes, it's a major route, it's a major truck route, it's traffic heading to the border.
Let's dive into the data. This is what we uncovered. June sees the most crashes, 218 in that 5-year period we examined. April, the least, with 175. More crashes happened on westbound I-94 with 54%. Friday saw the most crashes. Sunday, the least. And time of day you're most likely to crash, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Have you had a crash on I-94? If so, what was the circumstances? What was the exact location? I want to compare it to some of the data.
A few days ago, I posted this social media clip asking for viewer input.
Send me a message and stay tuned for this investigation.
We heard from Jim, who shared his story. Tim shared his worries about the entrance ramp.
My car was totaled. It was very scary.
That's Jennifer. She also reached out to us with her crash story on I-94. So we're going to head to the suburbs for our next report tonight at 5:45.
All right, so far this morning, smooth sailing on this, quote, danger zone hot stretch. When I talked to MDOT, I said, is there anything particular that you would do with a stretch? Because sometimes they put that aggregate down to slow folks down. Remember, we talked about that on my I-75 investigation. When I spoke to them about this stretch, they said, really, no, there's no sharp curves. There's really nothing here that the road necessarily makes it that, quote, dangerous. It's just because everyone is merging and no one is paying attention. They're going too fast and they're distracted. I know Darnell was talking about that earlier this morning. So definitely taking a live look here on I-94 as we enter this zone between exit 213 and 216. Traffic is building. It is backing up a little bit, but Rhonda and Jason, really the key is it is driver's responsibility. I thought it was interesting. MDOT says we call these crashes, not accidents, because 90% of the time, it really is the driver's responsibility. Yeah. I know, Jason, you said sometimes you get a little nervous driving on I-94.
Something you probably know. I'm glad you mentioned the entries and exits because those ramps are very short. And it's unusually short in some spots. So when someone comes onto the freeway, people have to get over quickly sometimes, and that creates a little confusion.
Right. There's no merging, really, much of it. You're just on and you got to go. Also interesting that it mostly happens on dry roads.
No, you're right, Rhonda, because I was assuming that some of this was going to happen because of the road conditions. But again, most of it's dry. Obviously, that time of day, it's more in the afternoon that they see most of these crashes. So when we found these hot zones, they were in the city. But then we got so many viewers that were contacting us and like, wait, I've got this concern over here in Washington County or Macomb County. So now our investigation is moving to the suburbs. And so we're going to dive into that at 5:45. I'm going to show you some hot zones there. And I also met with some crash victims. So I'm going to to share their stories as well. So we'll be updating you throughout the day on clickondetroit.com. And I put all that information on the website. It's really valuable, and it's interesting because you can be interactive and click and find out exactly what you need to know. So I would encourage you guys to check that out.
Well, that knowledge might save a life or two.
You should always be careful and be cautious, but extra cautious in certain areas once you have this information. Thank you, Karen.